So last episode, we stepped into the cleric side of turning undead in combat, right? This week, we're back with the fighters and the question nobody asked. What the archer is actually allowed to do in a single round. You know, Gary answered this exact numbers, and most tables have, you know, maybe don't play it right. So, or you have your own way of doing it. But I'm going to talk about how it's done in AD&D Raw, in the DMG and the Players Handbook. So we're going to get into that. You guys, I am DM Angelo. This is episode 6 of our AD&D Mechanics Arc. You know, we've covered weapon speed, weapon length, charging, turning undead. Like I said, today we're going to be talking about the range side of the round. You know, so rate of fire and exactly what your bowman, your slinger, a crossbowman are allowed to do, you know, while all this is happening. You know, the core rule is straight from the Players Handbook and the DMG, you know, right off the page. There's also a classic Dragon magazine article that expanded on missile combat back in '81, and I'll touch on that too. But you know, we'll bring this in as a supplement. You know, I never want to replace what was in the DMG and the Players Handbook. But man, Dragon magazine's got some cool stuff, so I'd love to add that on there. But you guys, and if this arc is filling in the gaps for combat rounds, the community keeps this going. So the links below, you guys can join Discord or join areas, the Facebook page. Make sure you comment, you know, but let's get into the numbers right now. So let's talk about rate of fire and what it is, and not per character, but let's talk about what it is in the Player's Handbook. So if you look on page 38 of the Player's Handbook, and I'm going to pull out my Player's Handbook, guys, like I always do. I try to get it right out of the. So there's every ranged weapon has a rate of fire value, right? And Gary says it plainly in there. He says rate of fire is based on the turn for tabletop miniatures or the melee round, right? You know, he used the word turn, but what he's talking about is melee round, right? And that number means, that means the number on the table is not a suggestion or an average. It's exactly how many times that weapon discharges in a single round, you know, 1 minute round of combat. Boom, full stop, right? So let's talk about the numbers most tables never use, right? So here's where it actually gets interesting, right? So a dart has a rate of fire of 3, right? So that's three darts, 3 separate attack rolls every single round. You know, a thrown dagger and a long or a short bow have a rate of fire of 2 shots per round. A sling or a javelin is a rate of 1. A heavy crossbow, and this is huge, right? The weapon that most players assume is a big heavy hitter, right? Well, its fire rate is 1/2. So one round, you know, it's shooting once and then it's reloading the next round, right? That means that 1 bolt for every 2 rounds. A fighter reloading a heavy crossbow is standing there doing nothing on the round in between, right? Put plainly, your dart throwing thief is putting 3 attack rolls on the table before your heavy crossbowman even gets to fire once every 2 rounds. That's a printed, you know, that's printed in the Player's Handbook. It's not a house rule. So let's talk about range changing the math, right? So fire rate isn't the only number on the table, right? Every ranged weapon also has an armor class adjustment, right? And that gets worse with range, right? You know, the Player's Handbook footnote is exactly about that. So on, if you're looking at, you probably won't be able to see this, but here on the bottom of the Player's Handbook, and yes, I did fold it, Dan, is down here, and it talks about the adjustments for range, which is super important, right? Because every weapon has a range of a small, medium, and large, right? Short, medium, and large. Sorry, short range, medium range, long range. I said large. And it on there it says adjust by -2 for all medium ranges, -5 for long ranges, right? Well, and that's on the That's the base to hit numbers already listed by armor class, right? So a short bow at long range is throwing away accuracy, maybe a hand axe at short range simply doesn't lose, right? Well, rate of fire tells you how often you swing, or you shoot, right? Well, this table's how much it's worth shooting at all, from how far you're standing out, right? So using, and I use range adjustments for that. And these are all in inches, which we know inches is 10 feet underground, 10 yards above ground, right? So let's talk, what happens when someone closes in or charges against that. And this is on the DMG page 61. I believe it's 61. Let me turn over to there. I got my DMG down here. You guys can't see it because it's off camera, but I will show you. Here we go. Now, this is a direct answer to a question 2 episodes back, right? That should have raised. The DMG page 61 lists the order of actions available to decide with initiative, and 2 of these options matter here, right? In verbatim in the DMG, it says discharge missiles or magic device attacks, or cast spells, or turn undead close to striking range or charge, right? Discharge missiles and closing to melee are 2 different separate choices on that list, right? You don't get both in the same round from the starting point, right? So when an enemy charges your line, your archers firing that round will make a direct, a real decision, right? Shoot now while there's still distance, or hold and prepare to fight in melee once contact is made, and then you go to weapon length, right? Well, fire and you get your rate of fire attacks. Thrown darts get 3, bowmen get 2. Before the charger's weapon length rule comes into play, right? Well, play it that way. I do play it that way. And I usually will calculate the distance and see what their movement rate, how fast if they can get within a round. And if there's enough distance in that charge for a whole round, those archers are going to get shots at the charging crew, right? So let's talk about dexterity, right? So this is, a big part of shooting, right? So the dexterity attack adjustment isn't just a melee stat, right? The DMG page 63 spells out exactly what it does for missile fire, right? So let me turn my book over to page 63. And under the missile discharge area, and yes, this is my totally beat up and foldable DMG. It says the dexterity attacking adjustment is for missile consideration when initiative is considered, right? It adjusts the initiative roll for the concerned individual only, not the group, individual. So if you have an archer in that group shooting, well, their dex adjustment's going to adjust for that initiative roll for them individually, right? That's where it gets kind of crazy when you're doing real raw group initiative for D&D, for AD&D, right? Then it can so that can let a nimble archer loose a shot before an opponent attack lands, right? Even if the opponent's side technically won initiative for the round, right? Is also a straight to hit penalty or bonus on the shot itself, right? A high dexterity archer just isn't just more accurate, right? They can functionally act faster than their own side initiative would suggest. So always remember that, right? A high dex throwing or shooting character is going to get that better initiative, going to get that better attack with a high dex, right? So I want to talk a little bit about concealment and cover. I think this is a really big part of missile fire, right? And this is a tricky thing because I think a lot of people forget about this, but it's valuable, right? So shooting at something behind cover doesn't just make it harder to hit, by feel, right? Gary put exact numbers on it, right? So if you're 25% cover, you get your AC is +2 bonus, right? If you got 50%, it's +4, 75 is +7, 90% cover is +10 on your AC, right? Now, concealment is something different, right? You +1 for 25%, +2 for 50, +2 for 75, +4 for 90%, right? He says on page 63, it says shuttered embrasures and narrow windows would provide 75% cover, while a window slit would offer 90% cover, right? That's a DM's, ruling on how much cover that is. It's not really a super formula. I'll usually ask the table, or I'll think about it in my mind. Well, do some of the math on how much. Oh, okay, they got 80%, 90% cover, right? Because only their head is showing, something like that. 90% cover gives a +10 bonus to armor class. That's absolutely crazy against missile fire. That murder hole your player builds into their keep when they start doing domain play, right, is a mechanical fortress against arrows. Straight from Gary's own table. So let's talk about I mentioned the Dragon magazine. Well, this article from Dragon magazine builds on what Gary wrote, right? It doesn't replace it, but in Dragon issue 45 in 1981, ran in the Lehman's Tiny Hut column by Len Lakofka, called Missile Fire and the Archer subclass, right? There was it introduced a dedicated Archer subclass, a point blank range category, and finer grain adjustments for target size. I did a whole video on the Archer class, and maybe I'll put that up here for you to check out. But that NPC Dragon magazine class is super awesome, and it's kind of it goes on with the Archer specialist and the archers back in the medieval times and how good they were. Good design history and worth knowing where those official rules actually came from. But at this table, the Players Handbook and the DMG numbers are a rule. It's funny because in my current campaign, I do have somebody playing an Archer class from Dragon magazine, and I've had several in the past because I do allow a lot of those at my table if it fits the tone of the game. Man, he walks around with his bow out all the time. But check that out. And I think it was reprinted also in Dragon magazine. Was it volume 2? Let me see. It might be volume 4. It wasn't in this one. It was in another one. I think it was in volume 3 or 4. But anyways, somebody will tell me in the comments. I want to kind of continue a little bit on firing into existing melee. This is a crazy topic because I'm on the fence about how to do this a lot, but Gary put it in the DMG very specifically. I don't particularly like this mechanism, but it's because I've seen other ways of doing this that are a lot simpler. But let's talk about this from page 63 of the DMG. So, and this comes up constantly when fighting starts. What happens when your archer wants to shoot into melee that's already underway? Well, he says in there on page 63, assign probabilities to each participant in the melee and target group according to sheer numbers, right? Total up the relative size and numbers on each side express it as a ratio, and use that ratio to determine which side and ultimately which combatant each missile is actually rolled against. That's brutal, dude. That's so brutal, because now it's a ratio. It's not, oh, I'm shooting at it, and if I miss, it might hit the other person. No, it's an absolute coin flip. So that shows how deadly and how old school, when Gary thought about shooting into melee. It was really an odds game. And, it's proportional to how crowded and lopsided the fight actually is. So let's talk about running this all right. The whole picture, right? Every ranged weapon has a printed rate of fire, right? And it's exact. Darts get 3, bows get 2, javelins get 1, a heavy crossbow gets a half. Range is going to also work against you once you get to that mid-range with your, a penalty of -2 at medium, -5 at long. Discharging missiles and closing to melee are separate choices in the same round, not both at once, right? Dexterity can let a sharp-eyed archer act before initiative alone would allow, and cover isn't a flavor. Cover is something that you should be using for those archers, those targets that the archers have far off, right? It's a hard armor class bonus straight off of Gary's own table. So you guys, tell me in the comments, is anyone actually tracking rate of fire at your table, or has everyone quietly been giving every ranged weapon 1 shot per round? I know I use rate of fire, and I use it raw. And I'd love to hear how you guys are doing this. So, I am DM Angelo. Let's all keep gaming. Take care of each other. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and hype this if you're watching on mobile. Also, if you choose and you would like to become a member of this community, you can do so. All right. Take care, you guys. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.